Welcome to Mystery Discman Told, your storytelling companion for cinematic journeys told like never before. In today's episode, we delve into the 2012 political comedy, The Dictator, a bold, irreverent satire that follows one man's outrageous path from absolute power to unlikely humility, and somehow, back again. Set in the fictional North African nation of Wadia, the film centers on General Aladeen, a dictator like no other. He's vain, clueless, extravagant, and completely insulated from reality. But when his throne is threatened and he's cast out of his bubble, what follows is a journey filled with absurdity, culture shock, personal reckoning, and just enough heart to make you pause between laughs. Let's unpack the bizarre and brilliant rise and fall of General Aladeen. Born into power and pampered by privilege, General Aladeen has ruled Wadia since he was just a boy. From the start, he is portrayed as a caricature of tyranny, complete with golden guns, custom-made military uniforms, and a thick beard that seems to symbolize his inflated ego. He governs Wadia with absolute authority and zero accountability. His citizens chant his name in choreographed parades, his every word becomes law, and even sports competitions are rigged to ensure he wins every time. Whether it's sprinting past murdered competitors or commanding the finish line to move closer to him, Aladeen doesn't just cheat, he institutionalizes it. But it's not just his people who suffer. His scientists, advisors, and bodyguards all live under constant threat. Disagreement is met with immediate execution, or at least attempted execution. Loyalty is demanded, not earned. To the world, Aladeen is a dangerous joke. But inside Wadia, he's considered a godlike figure, though fear does all the heavy lifting. The global community is growing restless. Aladeen's secret nuclear weapons program is raising alarms. His reckless announcements and taunting language have caught international attention, and now the United Nations demands answers. Under pressure, Aladeen reluctantly agrees to travel to New York City to deliver a speech. He doesn't intend to make peace. He just wants to show off. As he prepares, his opulence is on full display. Luxury cars, a caravan of armed virgin bodyguards, and speeches rehearsed like Broadway monologues. However, behind the scenes, a betrayal is brewing. His uncle Tamir, tired of Aladeen's unpredictable rule, has hatched a plan to replace him with a loyal body double. Tamir wants to open Wadia's oil reserves to foreign powers, privatize the economy, and profit under the guise of democratic reform. As Aladeen steps onto American soil, his fate is already being sealed. Soon after arriving in New York, Aladeen is kidnapped. He's brought to a remote location and subjected to torture by an inexperienced captor. In a series of slapstick blunders, Aladeen barely escapes with his life, but not his beard, which is shaved clean. Now unrecognizable and stripped of his identity, he's tossed onto the streets, powerless and anonymous. Suddenly, Aladeen must navigate the chaos of urban America with no title, no entourage, and no idea how real people live. For a man who's never cooked a meal, opened a door, or spoken to someone without ordering them around, this is culture shock in its purest form. He tries to tell passers-by who he is, but without his beard or military regalia, no one believes him. To them, he's just another raving lunatic in Times Square. Aladeen's journey takes a turn when he meets Zoe, a passionate activist running an organic grocery store and community kitchen. She mistakes him for a political refugee and, moved by his bizarre mix of arrogance and vulnerability, offers him a job out of pity. He accepts, not out of humility but survival. At first, Aladeen is an absolute disaster. He insults volunteers, fails at basic tasks, and refers to the food as peasant feed. But as time passes, the hard edges begin to soften. He watches Zoe interact with people. He hears stories from refugees who fled oppression, not unlike what he once inflicted. And he starts, slowly, to change. For the first time, Aladeen sees people without fear in their eyes. And for a man who has only known obedience, that's disarming. While wandering the city, Aladeen spots Nadal, one of his former scientists he thought had been executed. In truth, Nadal survived and is now living undercover. After a tense reunion, the two strike a deal. Nadal will help Aladine get his power back, but only if he is reinstated as head of nuclear research. Together, they plot to infiltrate the peace summit, where Aladine's double is set to sign a new constitution, one that will turn Wadia into a puppet state. But getting into the heavily guarded hotel won't be easy. Aladine needs access, and the only person with the right credentials is Zoe. To get close to Zoe again, Aladine pretends to be interested in her causes. He returns to work at the grocery and feigns kindness, but something odd happens. The more he pretends, the more he begins to actually care. He starts taking initiative, improving hygiene, organizing the store, and even connecting with customers. His arrogance fades to awkward charm. Zoe notices the change and begins to fall for him. There's a particularly strange moment when Aladine, confused by modern intimacy, asks Zoe how to take care of himself. After a hilarious misadventure, he discovers self-love for the first time and proudly announces it to the entire store. It's absurd, but also oddly sincere. The day of the signing arrives. Aladine and Nadal sneak into the hotel through a convoluted rooftop entrance, narrowly avoiding.
They confront the double,
Incapacitate him, and Aladine takes his rightful place at the podium, live on television, with the world watching. He begins with a satirical monologue that mirrors the rhetoric of Western democracies, mocking how tyranny can exist in different clothing. It's comedic, but razor sharp. He then rips up the new constitution, denounces the imposter, and exposes Tamir's plot. The stunned audience watches as the real Aladine reclaims control. But just when he's about to declare dictatorship eternal, he sees Zoe in the crowd, and something in him shifts. He changes course, announcing democratic reforms in Wadia, and acknowledging, perhaps for the first time, that other people's voices matter. Months later, Wadia is changing. Zoe and Aladine are now together, and a massive wedding celebration is underway. Aladine still rides in on golden chariots. The parade is still over the top, but something's different. There are elections being planned, hospitals are open, citizens can speak without trembling. Aladine is still himself, flamboyant, self-absorbed, but now tempered by growth and occasionally a conscience. The film ends with Aladine showing off a new weapon, an absurdly designed rocket that looks more like a carnival ride than a threat. It's classic Aladine, deluded, dramatic, but now oddly lovable. The Dictator is comedy with teeth, absurd, brash, and unafraid to offend. But beneath the outrageous gags lies a journey about identity, ego, and the possibility of change. General Aladine's transformation, from tyrant to human, from feared leader to clumsy everyman, reminds us that even the most ridiculous characters can stumble into redemption. Whether he learned humility or just found new ways to manipulate it, one thing is certain: the world won't forget General Aladine.